Welcome back everyone to another video in the how-to series featuring the Volkswagen Touran. Now, as always, thank you to all the old and new subscribers. Thank you for the comments, they're great. The feedback's been really good, so it is obviously good. It is hard work sometimes trying to explain the processes. Just because you do them day in, day out, doesn't mean you can explain them correctly. It's in there, obviously it's a bit harder. Now, part 5, machine polishing, is going to be very tricky, I'll be honest. It's typical VW paint, it's rock solid. I have done a couple of test patches already with combos of pads and compounds. It's not going to be easy. It is going to be really hard work to get it perfect, so we're not going to attempt for perfection on this. We are just going to go for the improvement, purely because of time. We don't have the time to do it. Realistically, we'd have to cut it with a rotary and a hard compound, then refine it. We're not going to do that. We're just going to do a single stage on it to enhance it, get rid of what we can easily enough, and obviously that'll be it for the customer. So yeah, let's have a look at the pads, the compounds, polishers that we're going to use, and we'll get into it. So the majority of the products in front of us are what is required for the machine polishing process. We'll start with the light. This is a Sealy colour match light, model number there for anyone that's interested. It is a fantastic light. It isn't interchangeable between warm and cool, but it's sufficient for what I need for finding the imperfections, so it does me perfectly. Pad brush for removing any residues, dust, build-ups, etc. within the pads. That is a big thing. We will talk more about heat and residue control whilst machine polishing the vehicle, just to explain, because it is something very important that a lot of people don't know much about, unfortunately. Auto Bright Enrich, exceedingly good product. My go-to for single stage enhancements 9 times out of 10, purely because of its high cut and high gloss. You don't need to refine with this stuff. 9 times out of 10 it will break down and leave a perfect finish. Unfortunately, on the Volkswagen, because the paint is so hard, that's not the case. It will break down perfectly and leave no swirls, but because the paint is so hard, in an ideal world, we could do with attacking the whole vehicle with Restore on a rotary multiple times, probably, to get rid of everything, but we just don't have the time to do that. Now, I have done a couple of samples on the bonnet between Enrich and Restore, and I will show you the difference before we actually start machine polishing properly, so you can see the difference, because with Restore, 9 times out of 10, you will have to refine afterwards. Polisher side of things, we now have a DA3 with a green pad, and we have a DA21 with a microfiber pad. Now the DA21 is their 21mm throw machine. This will cut a lot quicker than a DA12. Personally, I do prefer a DA12 just because of the control and the less vibration. But on something like the Volkswagen, because the paint is so hard, a DA21 is naturally a better option. Now, I am waiting for a delivery of pads. We have got a microfiber pad, obviously, on the DA21, and a DA3 is currently got a green pad. I will have a microfiber pad for this machine on Monday. I did forget to order pads and then emailed the owners of the company Wednesday about 3 o'clock, asking what the chances of a delivery were, to be told absolutely none till Monday. It's bank holiday weekend. So yeah, great one on that one. That was my bad, but yeah, we're going to get there. We've got sufficient pads, obviously, to make a start on the job and get cracking with it. It is Sunday, the 10th. The delivery is coming on the 11th, so we'll get what we can done, and then anything we need, obviously, we'll have fresh pads, because I have ordered some new 21 pads and some new 3 pads. So yeah, let's have a look at the bonnet, and we'll see how far we've got, and we can go from there. Bonnet time. As you can see, we've got a nice line there and a nice line there where we have already taped off and done a couple of samples. Now, this section of the bonnet, we did use Restore on the microfiber pad, and then this little section here, we used Enrich. If we get the inspection light out, you can see just the sheer state of the bonnet. It's horrific. Now, if we move into the area where we use Restore, you can see a lot more deeper imperfections that Restore won't remove, just because of typical German paint. And there's that nice one there. It's not even a deep imperfection, to be fair. Same as there's a section of them around there. I don't know where you can see it there. There's a couple there. they just won't come out with restore. Even on a microfiber pad, we would genuinely have to rotary polish this car, but we're not going to. Obviously, we're just going to single stage it. You can see the difference clearly from there to there anyway, just in the clarity side of things. But if we move over to this side where we've used Enrich, you've not really got any polishing marks. You've got the deeper imperfections. There is still the odd little polishing mark where we've just gone over it once with Enrich. But you can see it's much better than if we go back to there, for instance. Yeah, you've got all the polishing marks. You can just see if I get right in, there you go. All the polishing marks. If we go back, just shows you it is a lot better. So this is not going to be a perfect correction. We are just going to enhance it, bring the clarity back, bring the colour and the gloss, which the customer will be perfectly happy with. So I have just had a notification to say that my GoPro is on its way and will be here tomorrow as well. So what I'm actually going to do is time lapse me doing this side and that side on the roof, and then I will actually come back to the bonnet and probably one of the wings, maybe even this wing with the handprint and so on, and actually head cam it so you can see like close up of what is actually done during the polishing process and explain it a bit easier sort of thing. It's just obviously hard. You can't really machine polish one-handed. It just won't work. So at least if it's on time lapse, you can see the rest of it and the changes it goes through. So yeah, let's put you on time lapse and you'll be able to watch me do it. We've had a GoPro delivery and we've had a microfiber pad delivery. So we can actually do this a bit easier now. I can use both hands. You can physically see what I'm looking at, which makes life a lot easier naturally. So the rest of the car has been pretty much machine polished now. We've got the wing and the bonnet. As you can see, the wing has still got its handprint, so on and so forth. We are going to do this. You will be able to watch me physically do it as I would do it, and we'll have a little chat about it, so on and so forth. But the biggest thing I'm going to talk about is take your time. You don't need to rush. Patience is everything. You're not going to achieve perfection quickly. If you have the ability to take your time doing the job, then take your time. There's no rush. You will only get better results if you take your time and don't rush it, because when you rush, you do run the risk of marring or anything like that, because if the compounds have not broken down correctly when you remove them, it can cause marring. If the paint is too soft and you use a wrong microfiber, you can run the risk again of marring, which you don't want to do. So So we're now going to finish the bonnet. The rest of the car is pretty much machine polished already. I've left the bonnet to last, and obviously we can have a chat about it. Now, as you can see, we've obviously done them bits. We spoke about that previously. The whole point of now putting the head cam on is that you can physically see how it's done. We have a clean microfiber pad. Obviously, we've got some Enrich. I'll put some of that on. 4 pea-sized dots is all that is required for a nice size area. Normally I think we work on around a foot square, so pretty much it's a foot square that we're going to do. So microfiber pad, we've got our bits of compound on now, and we're literally just going to spread the compound around a little bit. Always start with speed 1, spread the compound around, and then we can obviously move on to speed 3, 4 upwards and work the compound in. Always stop the machine on the panel. Don't take it off while it's going. If it has got hot, the pad, and the glue has started to break up or anything like that, you do risk the pad flying off, hitting something and damaging it, or worse, hitting you in the face. Good luck trying to explain that one, because trust me, it won't go down well with people. People will laugh. Microfiber is going to take the compound off. Here we are. Now the bonnet and this is terrible. I'm not going to say it's not, because it is. You can still see there's plenty of scratches all over, but we're getting it as best as we can for the customer. Heat and residue control, something we need to talk about. A lot of people don't really understand it, get the idea. Now, as you can see, or you should be able to see, the microfiber pad is now quite matted from the compounds. You've got 2 ways of cleaning this. In between sets, you can use a brush with the microfiber pad, hold it steady and give it a good brush. Brings the microfibers back up, ready for another set. Or airline into the bucket and just gently now the bucket has got water in the bottom, and then it's sprayed around the top to keep it wet, so that any dust from the pad, from the compounds obviously, is then stuck to the water, which then stops it going back out on the floor and back into the air, which then risks contamination back onto the paintwork and more marring. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the machine polishing process done. We are now going to move and get ready to wax the vehicle. We're going to tyre dressing, we're going to do arches and so on and so forth. That will be in the next video, so make sure you liked and subscribed and click that bell for notifications, and I'll see you on the next one.